Okay, so now we will be learning the first topic for the fourth quarter, and it is quartiles. Let me just see. When we say quartiles, from the word itself, quartiles, what comes to your mind when you say or when you hear the word quartiles? Kindly type your answer in the chat box, please. Quick and fast. Let me know what comes to your mind when you hear the word quartiles. Quartiles. I'm not requiring for the definition of this, but how you understand it while listening to this word. Divided by divide three data into 3 points. That's one answer from our classmates. Division, equal groups, numbers divided equally into 4. Okay, thank you. What about the rest? When we say quartiles, what do we mean? Okay, so when we say, actually your classmates are correct. It is actually dividing the set of numbers into 4 equal parts. Dapat pare-pareho. How is that? Let's try to have this one. So, assuming there is a set of data, these are the set of data, and then when we cut this into 4, these should be equal. Sorry for the lines. This is the first quartile. This is the second quartile. This is the third quartile. And this is the fourth part. The fourth part or the fourth division from the set of groups. Now, so it says here dividing it into 4 equal parts. So ito yung 4 equal parts natin. And actually, these divisions, this is the end mark of our first quartile. So the first quartile ends here at the 25% of your data. Okay. And then let's change the color. Yeah, this is the first quartile. The second quartile ends here. So that is actually 50% of our data. And this is also called median. Okay. And the quartile 3 ends here, the third division na magdi-divide sa ating set of data. This ends our quartile 3, and this marks 75% of our data. Okay? So, if we will look at it, there are actually, sabi ng classmates natin kanina, dividing it into 3 points, it says. Sabi ng isa nating classmate. And that's correct. Because, of course, to divide the set of data into 4 equal parts, there should be 3 partitions. When we say partition, these are the markings that will divide the range of the data per quartile. Okay? And so, when we say quartiles, that's what we mean. Gets na po yun? Show me a reaction if you understand what quartile means. Let me see. Show me a reaction, please. Okay, ganun lang siya. Okay, now this is expressed through an image. What if we have set of data? Set of data that we will be interpreting based on quartiles. Let's have this as our example. For example, I have here, Of course, it says here, it should be in ascending order. Dapat naka-arrange siya from least to greatest. So let's have this. For example, my set of data are 1, 3, 5, 9, 11, 15, 16, 18, 24, 31, 35. Okay, so this is actually set of scores. For example, in a summative assessment in math, which is equal to 35 points, these are the following scores garnered by the different learners in 10-1. Okay, sad to say to those learners who got these low scores, but good for those who got good scores at the latter part of our data. Okay, so of course, all we have to do is to analyze our given and let's find our first quartile, second quartile, and our third quartile. Simple lang. Let's look for the median or for the middle value of the given data. Yung pinakagitna ang titingnan natin. Okay? So therefore, in to do this the simpler way, all we have to do is to count, of course. Count muna our set of data. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11. So from the 11, do we have an exact median or middle value for numbers which are 11 in numbers? Meron ba? Ano yung pinakagitna? What is the middlemost value if we have numbers 11, we have 11 numbers. What's the middlemost value? Yes, there is, and that is the sixth. Correct. So therefore, let's just check. Let's have here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then let's see if we will also have 5 equal numbers on the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Uy, correct. So therefore, our middlemost value serves as our median. And this is our quartile 2. Again, the middlemost value is called the median. Can you follow? Show me a reaction if that's clear. Okay, very good. So, again, the best way to find this is to count your given and then get the middlemost value. Okay, now your quartile 2 is 15. Of course, this will not be part anymore of your quartile 1 and quartile 3. Okay? So, mamaya yung interpretations natin. We will interpret the data later. Now, look at our numbers or data, the remaining data before and after our median. This is, or these are the set of number for our quartile 3. And these are the set of data for our quartile 1. O, sige. Let's focus first on our quartile 1. We have 1, 3, 5, 9, and 11. Do you have a middlemost value from this set of numbers? Yes or no? If yes, what is it? Type your answer in the chat box, please. Everybody should participate. I would like to see if you are following our discussion. What's the middlemost value for our 1, 3, 5, 9, and 11 value? Very good. Your classmates are responding correctly. The middlemost value for this set is 5. And so in that case, and also to check, look, we have 1 here, 1 there, 1 here, 2 here pala, 2 there. And of course, this is our middlemost value. And so this serves as our quartile 1. Can you follow? And finally, for our quartile 3, we have 16, 18, 24, 31, and 35. What is the middlemost value of those set of given? What is the middlemost value of those set of given? The answer is very good. 24. Okay, by checking, we have here 16, 1, 1, 2, 2, and this is the middlemost value. So therefore, this serves as our quartile 3. Okay, so with this one, we were able to, sorry, it was erased. We were able to divide our set of data into 4. So therefore, we have here, this is the first division, the second division, the third division, and the fourth division. And it says here, let's now go to our interpretations. So this is again, what percentage of the score kasi is the first quartile? What percentage of scores is the quartile 1? It's 25%. What about quartile 2? Okay, correct. What about quartile 3? Very good. So quartile 1 is 50%. Quartile 2 is 50%. And the quartile 3 is 75%. And how do we interpret this? Okay, to interpret this, we just have to look at our given. So it says here, if we have the quartile 1 is 5, this means that if quartile 1 is 5, it simply shows that 25, I'll make it green, sorry. Okay, 25% of, if these are the scores of the learners, of the 10-1 learners got scores lower or equal to 5. So therefore, it simply means that if your score is 5 or below 5, it means you are belonging to the lower 25% of the class. That's how we interpret that. So if you belong to the lower 25% of the class, that's quite not so good. Kasi mababa. You belong to the lower part of the class. However, it still depends on the scores. Kasi even if you belong to the lower 25% of the class, if the scores naman are high, then that's not a big problem, at least. Pero we will have that discussion when we reach the fourth lesson, kapag nasa standard deviation na tayo. So doon natin mas makikita yung upgraded interpretation of this. But for now, what we need to learn is, if you belong to the first quartile, if your score belongs to the first quartile, then you belong to the lower 25% of the class. Or your score is lower or equal to the first quartile score, which is 5. Okay? Show me a reaction if that interpretation is clear. Okay, good. Next, let's have naman ito mas nagiging exciting because for the median, if our score is here is 15. So therefore, to interpret this, it simply says 50% of the 10-1 learners got scores lower or equal to 15. Okay, ganun lang siya. So therefore, if you belong to the second quartile, then, or if your score is equal to 15 or lower than 15, then you belong to the lower 50% of the class. And on the other hand naman, if your score is greater than 15, then you belong to the upper 50% of the class naman. That's the other perspective of the interpretation. Okay? And of course, finally, for our third quartile, it says is 75%. To interpret this, we can say that 75% of the 10-1 learners got scores lower than 24. Lower than or equal to 24. So it simply says that if your score is 24 or lower than 24, you belong to the lower 75% of the class. But if your score is greater than 24, then you belong to the upper 25% of the class. Parang mas gusto ko yatang na nararamdaman ko or naririnig ko yung upper 25% of the class. Meaning, you belong to the elite group. You belong to the learners who are oftentimes disturbed by their classmates because they need your help to teach them in the subject. Okay? So, that's how we interpret quartiles. Show me a reaction if you understood that process. Okay. Now, I want you to make your own interpretation. If you will be asked, in which quartile do you want to belong? In which quartile do you want to belong? So considering the 10-1 class, in which quartile do you want to belong? First quartile, second quartile, third quartile, or pwede rin nating interpret lower first quartile, lower 25% or upper 25%, lower 50% or upper 50%, or lower 75% or upper 75% of the class. Kindly find yourself or try to make a vision of yourself. Where do you want to see yourself in your class? Type your answer in the chat box. Sige. Let me see. Okay. What about the rest? I'm also here asking everyone. I'm asking everyone to please make your personal interpretation or personal goal, your goal for yourself. Saan mo or where do you want to belong in this class? Sige nga. I would like to hear from the rest. Okay, I would like to pick up some of our classmates' answers. Kahit saktong 75% lang po. Oy, saktong 75% is already a good standing kasi you belong at least to the 75th or to the third quartile, and that's already good. Oy, of course naman, to our other classmates, they want to be part of the upper 75%. Mostly said upper 75%. And wala naman na nagsabi ng lower 75%, all the more with the median and the first quartile. Okay. And to those who did not post their answers, it's okay. Now, just make sure that let this become our goal as well. Okay? Let's just not settle for less. Instead, let's do something. Let's do something to perform better in class. Okay? Show me a reaction if uh, you understood the process of getting the first quartile, second quartile, and third quartile in this set of data. Let me see. Okay, thank you so much. And so this is about to end. Kindly join again for the continuation. This time, in our next set of given, we will be having different types of number compositions because they're in here sakto. Good for us, may saktong number na pumapasok sa median ng bawat quartile or ng bawat set of data. But what if we don't have an exact number for the position? What shall we do? And that's what we will be learning as we continue learning quartiles. Okay? See you again. I'll end this now. And please join again in our Zoom link.